traveling and creating content at the same time is hard.
Welcome to the Radio Vagabond podcast.
Meet Palle Bo, a digital nomad from Denmark on an epic journey around the world. At the age of 50, he made a bold decision. He sold everything, his house, his car, his furniture, and set out with a quest to visit every single country in the world, documenting everything along the way. This is the Radio Vagabond podcast.
At the TBEX conference in Stockholm, I was happy to run into Chris Christensen.
I'm Chris Christensen. I do a couple different things in the travel space. So I run a site called Blogger Bridge that helps connect companies with bloggers and other content creators. And then I also am a content creator. I do a couple podcasts, This Week in Travel and Amateur Traveler, which also includes a blog. So been doing content creation in the travel space for 11 years.
Yeah, well, you're one of the first movers in podcasting.
Well,
I would like to say that you're a podcast legend. I don't know. You don't like that.
The funny thing is, I always thought I was late to podcasting because I didn't get in, for the first 8 months. And at the time, it honestly felt like I was late, which in retrospect, not so much.
But you've done a lot of episodes on the Amateur Travel podcast.
Yeah, Amateur Traveler's done about 521 episodes. This Week in Travel is a little harder to schedule, so only over 200 for that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Tell me the difference of the two.
So Amateur Traveler, our target audience is a traveler. We target a North American traveler, but we have people listening all over the world. But that's what I'm thinking of when we're doing the episodes, and it's where should you go and what's a 1 week itinerary to spend there. So we try and size each episode in terms of thinking around a 1 week itinerary. Mm-hmm. And though I say North American traveler because I'm thinking of somebody who doesn't have as much time to travel, doesn't get, a month off.
No, we get 6 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. And then This Week in Travel is different. It's targeting more like the people who are attending this conference we're at TBEX, people who are interested in travel, but also we often talk about travel writing and travel blogging and those sort of things. Mm-hmm. So the smaller podcast, but it's more popular in this crowd, typically.
So you make a lot of money from doing podcasts?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're doing this on my yacht. I don't know if people can hear the sounds of the ocean and the lapping in the background. Yeah, I don't actually even try and make a living from blogging or podcasting. It's not necessarily that one can't. It's just that it's hard. Mm-hmm. And also, I'm a software programmer, and it's not hard to make a living doing that. So that's how I actually support myself.
Yeah, but why did you start going into podcasting? Because I know I did because I'm a radio guy, but you're not originally a radio guy.
I am not originally a radio guy. I did a little college radio, but not a whole lot. No, I started a podcast because I fell in love with podcasting as a medium. I started listening to podcasts 4 months before I started the show, so also in 2005, but sometime around probably February. And it wasn't very long till I went, I should do a podcast. This sounds like something I should do. And it wasn't really going to originally be a travel show. I wasn't sure what I would do. I thought about doing a show about tech. It would probably have been a MacCast, but Adam Christensen had already started the MacCast. Yeah. It's like, well, that's been done, because apparently you only need one. It was what I was thinking at the time. I thought about doing a religious show, which I actually do that as well now. But then we had some friends over for a picnic on one of the holidays, Memorial Day in the U.S., and all the best stories were travel stories. Yeah. And so that was the end of May, and then by July I launched Amateur Traveler, and had to come up with a website and a brand and a logo and podcast ideas. And originally it was going to be about my travels. It was going to be all of the places I'm going. The problem was I don't have 6 weeks vacation a year. I had actually, at that point in time, I may have had more because I was at a company with a fair amount of vacation. But I probably had 3-4 weeks of vacation a year, and I was trying to put out 48 episodes a year, and the math does not work. No. I was running out of stories, and then started interviewing other people about their trips, and found that I actually enjoyed that more because those were stories I didn't know. And so it was easier for me to do a show talking about other people's travels because I was interested in what they were doing. I was learning things. Mm-hmm. And if I don't learn things, I don't get interested. So.
No. How much do you travel yourself?
Now more. So I quit a full-time job almost 3 years ago now. Coming up almost exactly 3 years ago. And started doing some part-time consulting, and that included some travel as well. So I think last year I was, 138,000 miles, I know, is what I flew last year. Wow. Some of that for business for the contracting, but I was probably away from home 3 to 4 months. Mm-hmm. But I am married with a home and a mortgage, so I'm not a nomad. No. So, nor desire to be, actually. No.
Well, I am now.
Yes.
And with all your experience from doing the amateur traveler, you must be able to give me an advice. I just started this whole nomadic lifestyle. Is there anything I should be aware of?
So don't quit the day job is not the advice you're looking to hear right now.
Yeah, well, I don't. I'm taking my job with me.
Yeah. The one thing that will be challenging is traveling and creating content at the same time is hard. And you can get that from anybody who's been doing travel blogging or travel podcasting, being on the road. And I know you heard that advice last night at one of the parties as you were talking to somebody who 8 months into a nomadic journey, and stopping periodically and just catching up is something that I think a lot of people find they need to do when they're trying to really put effort into the content. Mm-hmm. And I've done it, but it is hard. It's hard to do both at the same time.
Yeah. What I hear all the time from talking to these experienced travelers is when I say, well, I have this itinerary to go to 85 to 100 countries in 4 years, and they look at me and say, slow down.
I heard you getting that advice last night. Not my target. My target is 5 new countries a year. So, but that's also in terms of how much time I'm going to be on the road. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Probably bump into you in a year's time, and I'll tell you how it went.
Yeah. Well, I have a friend actually, Francis Tapon, who's been on the show, who's done a book on Eastern Europe, and now he's doing a book on Africa. And it was originally going to be a 3-year project, and now it's turned into a 5-year project because he's finding that the same sort of thing. Just, the constant travel, for one thing, is wearing, but also just it's a big world.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Chris. Just before we wrap up, I need to ask you, because I was born with the same last name as you, Christensen. Are you Danish in heritage?
Yes, my grandfather was born in Thisted in Jylland.
Så kunne vi jo have lavet det her på dansk.
Yeah, not a bit. He basically refused to learn English. He was born there, but he came over as an infant to the U.S. in the 1880s. Wow. My great-grandfather came over to the U.S. to, he thought, work in the Danish booth in the Chicago World's Fair, making cheese because he was a dairyman, and got there and found out he didn't have a job. Yeah.
So. Have you ever been to Thisted?
No, I haven't been to Denmark. I'm going to, not counting the airport, I'm going to get to Denmark next week, so for the first time.
Yeah, have a good time.
Thank you.
Tomorrow, I'll be back with a very, very interesting guy. His name is Michael Graziano. No, he's not Italian. He's, in fact, from Canada, and he's on a quest to travel to every single country in the world. And it's all part of the project Global Degree. You don't want to miss that one. If you like this podcast, please subscribe in iTunes or the podcast app on your smartphone. You can see pictures, watch videos, and read much more on theradiovagabond.com. Pale can be reached for interviews and public speaking gigs on mail at theradiovagabond.com. I'm Pale Bo. Thanks for listening.